Hello everyone, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. I hope you're all well. It's been a little while since I've podcasted. In fact, I think it's been just over a month. A lot's happened in that month. So welcome to Blind and Knitting. It's my little podcast where I share all my FOs and whips and all of my crafty bits that I love doing. I also am legally blind, so there's some challenges there. So hence the title, but makes it a little bit more challenging to do knitting and crafts, but I get through because it's a passion of mine. So welcome to new viewers, welcome back to existing viewers, and let's settle down and have a great hour or so. I hope you've got your knitting and something to drink. I've got my Christmas t-shirt on because it's the 24th today. It's Christmas Eve tonight. So I thought I'd get a little bit festive and put my Christmas t-shirt on. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh, hasn't this year gone fast? Particularly this month. So what's been happening? Well, last time we spoke, my brother-in-law had a little medical event and he's recovering well. So, that's been a bit of an upset for the family, but he's coming right now, hopefully. So, all good there. I've been to Australia. I had a trip over to Australia. My children shouted me a trip over to see my grandchildren that I hadn't seen due to COVID. So I met my two grandchildren that I just fell in love with the minute I met them. And took my eldest granddaughter over, and she got to meet them as well. So I had my eldest granddaughter and my youngest grandson together, which was really special. So it was a lovely time. I did go to a wool shop, and so I will show you my wool purchases from over in Aussie. Went to Wollongong. That's where my son lives. What else has been happening? I had my three of my grandchildren come and stay for 3 nights. They went home yesterday, and we did Christmas crafts, and made all sorts of things for gifts, and we did Fimo, and what else did we do? We made a love soup. I'll show you the love soup. So these are one of the things the grandkids made. So it is a soup mix, so you can see all of the layers of lentils and split peas and pasta, and it's got chicken stock in it as well, and it's got a little wee poem, and of course due to my sight I can't read it, but it's a lovely little poem that you add to it, and it says how much we love you, and if you add some water and tomato paste to this and some instructions, and while you're eating it you can remember how much we love you. So they made 19 jars of love soup, so they're going to be giving love soup as gifts this Christmas, which is kind of sweet, you think? I really think they're quite cute. So and one of the grandies gave me one, which is nice, so I can cook up some of my own love soup. I keep pulling my jersey down because this year it's a slightly different fit than it was last year. So if it goes and starts rolling up, I'm really sorry. This is not an R18. I will try and keep it down, but it is a different shape than it was last year. Oh my gosh! But that's just part of getting older, isn't it? You have to kind of just roll with the punches, and we're all a year older. So grandkids, that was really special. Had them here for 3 days. They did all of the farm jobs like the chooks and the dogs, and collected the eggs, and they really enjoyed that. So that was quite special time for me and the kids. Sat down, bunkered down, and watched a couple of movies. Oh my gosh, I watched one movie. Sad. It's supposed to be a comedy, but I think it was a black comedy. It was about a soldier who was died, and had a German Shepherd that worked with him in the war, and the other soldier had to take the dog across country, it was American, to the funeral, and they both had PTSD from war, and it was just the most, it was sad, it was funny, it was heartwarming, it was all of these emotions. Do recommend it, and it's simply called Dog, D-O-G. Don't know who the actor was or anything like that, but if you do want to sit down the weather's been crap. So, it's just been, we've had torrential rain, and it's the middle of summer, guys. What's with this? Rain that's caused flooding in the middle of summer. It's just bizarre. So, although our tanks, it's quite nice for us being farmers, our tanks are getting full. But I do wonder whether we're going to get some summer soon. I keep looking out the window because I've got this lovely bay window here. I'll show you. Lovely bay window there with my stunning view. So I'm sorry if I keep looking out my window, but do you blame me? It's just beautiful. And I have to take a breath and think. So, anyway. Welcome to my podcast. So that's kind of what's been happening. I'm just checking my notes. Yeah, put the summer duvet on, get rid of the winter one, put the summer one on. But I don't know why, because the weather's not great. I'm heading off this afternoon. My sister and I are blessed that between the two of us, we have our children and their children. There's 24 of us all together. So, and it's just too big for an average home, because we do love, and the nieces and nephews don't want to miss out on a traditional Christmas. They like, all the trimmings, the turkey, and all the fancy set table, and they love all that, and quite rightly so. But it's quite hard in a little home. So we've hired the Scout Den, and I haven't been there yet, so I haven't seen it, but some of the nieces are in there, and my daughter, Kushla, and they are decorating, putting a Christmas tree up, and we're going to have our Christmas there. So I'm going to stay 2 nights. They're sleeping over. They stayed last night. My family, that is, my daughter and her kids, husband and her, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids and a fiance. So they stayed the night last night. I'm going to stay tonight because it's Christmas Eve, and it's kind of special waking up Christmas morning to the grandies. And then I'll stay another night and come back home. That's my Christmas. I hope yours is all going well. I haven't put any sort of pressure on myself this Christmas. I'm not a great consumer. I hate all the plastic and stuff, but I would rather buy events and opportunities for the family to go and do something. But I know kids like Christmas, and I know they like the presents, so it's fun watching their faces. That's what I'm looking forward to. So this is a knitting podcast, so let's get down to it. I've got 2 FOs, 2 whips, 2 active whips, and some acquisitions from Australia. So I will show you my FOs. So when I went to Aussie, I didn't want to knit really that where I needed to look at a pattern. I didn't want to be on the plane, sort of, what it's like when you're in a plane and it's so little, and I didn't want to have a pattern or my phone and needles and complicated. So I just wanted something that was in my head that I could just knit. So when I went to Cairn back in, when was that? Must have been July, August. Can't remember now. June, July, August. I brought some lovely wool from a woman called Sue, who I'll link her down below. Sorry, kicking the phone. I'll link her down below as well. But Sue's hand dyed wools, and she's got a Facebook page. But I brought 2 of her hanks of wool. One was a speckled one, and one was a semi-solid, and they match. So I chose to make a shawl. So I knit, and I had the pattern in my head because I've made this before. It's a pattern called Embers, and my apologies, I cannot remember who the designer is. Isn't that awful? I should have looked that up. Did I? No, I didn't look it up. Sorry about that, guys. I will link it below, but it's a lovely pattern, Embers, and it's just a simple pattern that just has increases at each end. Knit 3, and then you do a back right back right, or whatever it's called, increase at each end, every end. So there's no thinking, just and it comes out this nice crescent shape, I suppose. So I didn't have to think, and I just did the speckled first, and then I did the semi-solid, so that but I just kind of looked at it afterwards and I thought, needs something, it needs a little something, a little zhuzh. So I thought, right, I'll get some plain solid colour that goes with it. I tried to get like a butterscotch or a, you know, those Weathers Originals lollies. I thought, oh, that's a nice colour, that'll go with it. Or a butterscotch, funnily enough, I'm thinking of lollies and food, which is typical for me. But hey ho, that's why my t-shirt doesn't fit me this year, because I think of lollies and food for colours even. And I couldn't find anything. But what I did find was this really nice gold colour, and it's just a simple plain gold. And I did this pattern, I made it up. Well, I didn't make it up, I lie. I already had it in my head. I had made a top a couple of years ago, a plain red top called Gemini, and it was a square, and I did a 100% cotton red one, and it had a square neckline, and it had this pattern around the neckline, and I just thought, oh, that's nice and easy, and I remember how to do it, so I put that on the end. So there's my shawl. I'll put it on. It's a nice shape, nice crescent shape. I love the little gold at the bottom. What I do want, I think, now is, in Cairns again, I saw this beautiful, one of the ladies had, and perhaps if you're watching and you remember who it was, I would love to try and get one. She had these stunning wood shawl pins, so it was beautiful, like a carved piece of wood with a pin through it, and I think that would look stunning on there, just a lovely big wooden pin holding that up. So really happy with this. No pattern, just took me 3 weeks to knit while I was away because I didn't have to think, and you know, when you're on holiday, I just had a little bit of downtime, didn't want to think at all. So thank you, Sue, for your beautiful wool. I absolutely adore the colours, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. It's 100% wool, although I think it could be from memory 100% wool and 10% acrylic. So yeah, it's just a lovely, it's a wool, but it's not super scratchy. So that's one FO is my shawl. Check my t-shirt again. My next FO I had started, and it's the Weekender by, let me refresh my memory, Weekender by Petite Knits, and I did it in 5.5mm needles, and I did it with 12 ply. I did a 2XL. Now that sounds huge, but I did want a fairly oversized, because it's a Weekender, it's a slip over, which is a size 6, and I used wool, 100% wool, 12 ply, called Highlander, and the tag, I did have the tag on it. Anyway, I've lost the tag. Scrummy colour. There we go. Now that I am super happy with. I'll put some photos on my Instagram page probably after Christmas. I just don't have time now, and it's too hot to wear it at the moment. But I thought, with a lovely puffed white sort of broderie anglaise shirt with a nice white puff sleeve, that is going to look great. But boy, did I play yarn chicken. That's all I had left. And I didn't know whether I was going to make I could do the ribbon. I could have done another couple of rows on each, but it was cutting it a bit fine, and I was getting a bit nervous. The wool is very silky feeling, and I wonder whether it is a what do you call it? One you can wash in the washing machine, but I haven't read the label properly because of my sight, of course, but the colour is just scrummy. It's just this buttery, it's Weathers Originals. There we are, more food. It had a lovely neckline shape, the V, so easy. You know, it was just simple. It was slip two, so what do? You slip two together off the needle as if knitting them, knit one, and then pass those 2 stitches back over, and it just creates this pattern down the middle there and a nice V. So I love the great big V neck, lovely big neck. The interesting thing is that the sleeves have that V underneath their arms as well. So you have quite a big sleeve, but then you have that underneath. When I first started knitting this, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast before, I started thinking, oh, I don't like this wool. Oh, it's really, it's uneven. I know I've got a really even knit stitch. I do knit very evenly, but this is quite uneven. I don't know if it's going to show. So I thought, well, just persevere, you know. It might block out. I haven't blocked this yet, by the way. And it might block out yet. But then as I got further into it, I thought, I actually really like that. It kind of gives it just a different texture, just a different look. So I'm really looking forward to wearing that. It's obviously too hot. It looks huge, but it's actually not that huge on. It's just a nice big vest. Super looking forward to wearing that one. So that's FO number 2. So those are my FOs. The one to my whips that I've been working on. I have still been working on the cardigan that I'm making up. This is out of Skeins vintage yarn, 100% wool, called Chili, and it is a simple cardigan. And I'm really just making the pattern up, as I've told you before. I have done the back, the 2 fronts, and that's your sleeve. So what I'm up to is joining my shoulders. I don't know whether, and maybe someone could answer this question too. Do you have to do the steps to create a shoulder height? I can't be bothered. I just thought I'd do, what's it called, the double needle cast off, you know, when you put 2 needles together, and just have it all one shape or one size, not have the shaping on the shoulders. And I don't know whether I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. So it's just a big loose baggy cardigan anyway. So yeah, but I've knitted the ribbon on to the pattern, so it's all on. I don't have to do that. What I thought I might do, and I was watching a podcast the other day, it might have been the Grocery Girls, and that one of them had knitted a cardigan, and instead of doing, I know who it was Inga from Knitting Traditions, which is another podcast that I love. She had knitted the sleeve straight without any decreases, and then done quick decreases and and I thought, oh, I might do that just for a change, just to give the cardigan a little bit of point of difference. So I'm not going to, I am not going to decrease the sleeves. I'm just going to knit them straight, and then I'm going to knit 2 together all the way around, or knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, knit 1, see which is the better one. I'll have a play and go from there. So pretty much that's all I've got to do is the 2 sleeves, join the shoulders together, and the 2 sleeves. But if you do know whether it's going to make a monster difference to the shape if I don't put the shoulder shaping in, I'd really appreciate the feedback on that. I'm not sure myself at all, but my gut feeling is that it's just a loose cardigan. I don't want a cardigan that's going to hang, so it might be quite good having quite a bit of the fabric there, but then it could pull it down, might drag. Oh golly, I don't know, and I'm you know, I take the least amount of energy, so I'm trying to say that I'm not lazy. But when I'm knitting, I do the quickest way around. So for me it was like, just don't do those decreases, but now I'm worried about whether I don't or not. That's my whip, or one of my whips. The other whip that I've been working on, this was while I was travelling. I haven't done much more to it since travelling because I'm up to the heel, is my Sunday socks. And the Sunday socks is a petite knit pattern that is just a nice big chunky DK sock, and this is a wool from Squishy McDo's that is just a one-off that I brought. It's pretty pink with the flecks in it, and I'm up to the heel. I don't know if I'll do, I might do it a wee bit bigger because I kind of want them to scrunch up, a bit like the old-fashioned leg warmers. I want them to kind of scrunch up down the bottom a bit. So I might do a few more, couple more inches, and I'm doing it on magic loop, just for a change. I do like my 9-inch circulars, but this is DK, and I thought, oh, that might be just a wee bit chunky. I'm not sure. I think it was more because I didn't have the size needle in the shorties to do. Actually, that is the reason. Just remembered, I didn't have this size needle in the shorties, and so when I got back from holiday, oh look, I had everything all here. When I got back from holiday, I shouted myself 3 pair of 9-inch circulars, 4 pair. Oh gosh, I bought 4 pair, all different sizes, so that when I'm making socks, I can just use them. And so I like the Knit Pros. I haven't really used any others, so I don't have any comparison. But this will mean that I've got 2.75, 2.5, I've got 2.5s there. That's a bit silly, Billy. Oh no, that doesn't look right. I think this is my sight. That might be, I don't know. I'll have to look at that with the camera. Oh, 2.25, 2.75, and a 2.5. You know what I was doing? I was looking at the centimetres long, not. So no wonder they're all the same. Oh, God. Hey ho! Anyway, that was my wee little shout for myself when I got back from holiday, so that I could, as I said, I was trying to find the passion for socks. I have started finding a bit of a love for socks. I do get the having something in your, just that you can just pick up that's really quick. I just keep it in this little lingerie bag, and it's really quick, and I can just pick that up, and because my taxi rides, I can just knit. When I do stripes, semi-stripes, I can do a row of colour in a trip. Excuse me, I'll just have a drink of water. Good old-fashioned water. Why? Because I've had 2 mugs of tea and a cup of coffee this morning, so I think I should just stick to water. So I'm enjoying knitting socks. Must be because I've just shouted myself the sock 9 inches up to the heel. To be honest, at Christmas time and pre-Christmas and on holiday, I just did not want to think. I did not want to read patterns. I just wanted to do straight knitting. Hence, my vest got a thrashing because I'd done all of the sleeve and that, so that was just straight down. My shawl, that was just so easy knitting, and I just really loved just doing garter stitch, not having to think until I got to the end, and I knew 3 stitches, increase, 3 stitches, increase, and yeah, it was so good for the head, really good for my mind, just to clear my mind, doing something like that. So that's my other whip. What else have I been working on? I think those are my only 2 active whips. I've still got my Birkin, which I'm really keen to get back into, but it is a winter. It's going to be a winter jersey, and I've got a couple of things that I'd quite like to do over the summer period. So I have sort of set it aside, and I'll pick it up maybe, autumn. And then that would be a good time to sort of get back into it. I'm really quite excited about getting into that, but I just, I'll knit that closer to winter. And my half and half wrap, I haven't picked up either. Again, that's just another winter knit, and it's one of those ones. It would have probably been quite good for knitting on the plane, but it does take a little bit of thinking because you're doing the wrap and turns, so you have to keep an eye out where you're up to, and then do your wrap and turn, and then knit to one past it. And again, even that's a little bit, I was just so brain dead, I think, and I just didn't even want that. So that hasn't had any work at all. It's just sitting there. So my Birkin and my half and half wrap will sit for a little while. I'll just put them on pause. I'll finish my chilly jersey, which is my goal, and I've got some acquisitions that I'll now show you, and some sort of ideas on what I could quite like to get into a bit more now. I'll just check my notes. I've shut shop for a month in the office, so there is a skeleton staff running at work, so I don't have to go into the office, which is lovely. I can still just do little bits and pieces as they crop up, but I am still doing my EAP counselling work, but I'm doing it via phone. So EAP's been wonderful to work for. It's a employment assistance program where employers pay to have counsellors on tap for staff that might need it for employment issues or personal issues, and I can choose whether I do phone or face-to-face. I love the face-to-face work, but I just wanted to just tick along just slowly with some phone work and stay home for a month. Really, I've kind of had holidays, but I haven't had a proper holiday. I set my business up 3.5, nearly 4 years ago, and it's been go, go, go headwise for that whole 4 years, and I think that's why I really needed some knitting that was brain dead, and it was lovely getting away. I mean, it was very special getting away, but it was also lovely getting away, totally away from it all, which I hadn't had for obvious reasons, COVID, etc. We were all in that position. So yeah, it's been really good for my brain to settle it down. So I'm looking forward to this next month. My goal is just to have my ranch sliders wide open, sit here, or sit outside. I struggle outside because of the glare, which is a real shame because I'd love to sit outside and knit. I can sometimes with a hat on, but yeah, I can sit here with my ranch sliders. My ranch sliders open right up to the whole lounge, so I feel like I'm outside anyway. So I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to knit and do handcrafts and just do the work I need to do, ticking along for a month and have a real good break. Good for my mental health. So that's my 2 whips and my 4 whips really, but 2 whips that I've been working on, and my 2 FOs. So what's next? My purchases. As I've said, I was blessed that my kids funded my trip, so I didn't have a lot of expense. So I was able to tuck a little bit of money away to have a little spendy, which I did. I said to my son who drove me around, he was my taxi, I've got to go to a wool shop. The one thing I really want to do is go to a wool shop. Now I went to the malls and I couldn't find a wool shop anywhere. Yes, they had the usual, in Target, a wool shop. No, not Target, in Coles and in the Big W, they had wool shops, but not a proper wool shop. So we Googled one, and I found one, and I made some purchases. So I'll get my bag to show you what I got. It was a lovely, lovely group of ladies, and I walked into this lovely little shop, and I'll find the card so I can show you. I had it all here sorted and ready. There we go. So the shop was called Finzah, Finzah. Oh, where are you? There you are. And it wasn't far from Wollongong. It was just a little drive to Kringilla. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Kringilla. And this lovely lady, Sasha, owns the shop. And when we walked in, there were 3 ladies sitting at a table knitting and crocheting, and they were just really, really lovely. I mean, knitters will just, once you start talking knitting. One lady was doing some crocheting. I'm not sure what it was. It looked like a scarf or a vest maybe, and she was crocheting, but it looked like it was so fine. I think she was doing double crochet, and it had like little waves on it. Do you know those sand drawings that you can get, and people have a little rake and they can make patterns? It looked like that with lovely waves on. Oh, it was stunning. I mean, crocheting, I love crocheting. I've crocheted, so many things, but you can only do so many bikini tops and lampshades before you start thinking, well, what else can you make with and granny squares? But this lady just showed me that there's so much opportunity. It also reminds me of a lady, and I'm not sure if you're going to be watching or not, a lovely lady that's been coming to our knit group. His name's eluded me. Di, I think it is. Sorry, Di, if it's Di, sorry. And she's crocheted herself a cardigan, and it's stunning. So can do a lot with crocheting. Anyway, enough about crocheting. Finzah. I don't know what Finzah means. I did Google it, and it is in the Middle East. It's a lady's name, but I should have asked what Finzah means. But Sasha runs it, and of course I walked in, had a look, and I took some photos. There's some photos on my Instagram page, or if they aren't, I'll put them on. And said, do you have any wool, local wool, some, you know, an indie dyer or some natural, you know, something from somewhere local, so that I can buy it and have it as a memory when I get home. And she did have a couple of boxes of wool, and this, so I brought this one. Now this is, I've put the card down. I'll show you the wool. It's really quite pretty. It's homespun. I'm not sure if that's going to show well. It's homespun, and it's kind of pink and lilac. It's 100% wool. It is spun by a woman called Deirdre Bowman from Wollongong, and she is part of the Hand Weavers and Spinners Wollongong group. They have a Facebook page as well. I have checked it out. It's just beautiful. It's really pretty, and what I decided is that I would just buy it without thought of what I could make with it, just because it was local. And there were 3 different colour types here, and I chose the one that I like the colour. It's quite rustic. It's very homespun, so it's very it feels, you know, rustic and woolly. It's not smooth to the touch. Definitely smells like sheep, which is lovely. And I haven't weighed these yet, but I brought 5. I'm guessing that they're about 200. They look a little bit more than 100. They could be 100. Really pretty, really pretty. So I thought, right, I'll buy those. What does that say? Homespun, hand dyed. Oh, it's hand dyed as well. That's even better. Capsland wool. I'm sorry, 375 grams. Oh, so 375 grams. There we go. I didn't even know that was on there. So I'll read that a bit better. I have never heard of that sheep. But really happy with that buy. And so when I got home, I thought, right, now I can start thinking about what I could knit with it. So I thought, well, I'll knit a piece, do a sampler, and see what it comes out like. See if that shows. The bottom one is done on a 5mm, and the top one is done on a 6mm. It's very rustic, and that's not a wool that I would lean to, and I like the fabric of the smaller needle as well, and the colour comes up quite pretty with the smaller needle. You can see the lilac and the pink in it. So I'm thinking, well, what am I going to make with it? Because it's not something I would wear close to skin. I was watching a podcast quite some time ago, and one of the ladies was talking about a pattern that she had in the 70s or 80s that she loved, and she was trying to find it again, and it was a jean jacket. It was a hand knitted replica of a jean jacket, a denim jean jacket, and I thought, wow, that sounds cool. So I went searching. Where's my phone? Oh no, I printed a picture off, didn't I? I'm a bit worried that I'm not going to be able to find the pattern. I found the pattern, but I'm a bit worried I'm not going to be able to get it because it's quite old, and it's called Core, C-O-R-E, and it is actually a jean jacket, and I think this might be quite good as a jean jacket. So that's what I'm going to try making as out of this. And I think because it looks quite denim-y, it looks kind of pink and lilac-y denim. It really has a denim look to it, a faded denim look. It's jacket, quality and strength. So I haven't actually looked to find out whether I've got enough or whether I can get the pattern. If I can't get the pattern, I'll sit down and have a look at it and see whether it's possible to make it up or play with it, or I don't know, I might sort of go on Ravelry and say, has anyone got a pattern there that I could buy off them or something. So if you do know anyone that's got this jean jacket, it is by Kate Hargraves, I think that's the name, Kate Hargraves, and it's on the Rowan site, and it is called Core, C-O-R-E. It says download this PDF for the pattern, and so when I download the PDF, I go to the Rowan website, and the pattern's not on there, so, or not on there on my phone, so I might need to wait till I'm back at work, so I've got my big computer so I can have a good look. So I'm hoping I can find it, because I think that would look quite cool. That's my goal. If that's not going to be the case, then the other option, or if there's not enough, or the other option is another vest, because I think this would also make quite a cool vest. Again, you'd be able to wear a t-shirt underneath it or a shirt underneath it, so it's not against skin, but it'd be nice and warm. And I believe vests are the bee's knees at the moment, so looking at podcasts over in America and Canada, etc., who kind of a season, you know, a different season to us, they're talking about how vests are the thing. And the other thing they're talking about is leg warmers. Leg warmers coming back in. So they're nice round knitting too. So of course I couldn't just buy that when I went there, so I bought this as well. This is called sheep G's wool. It's, where's my notebook? I wrote it all down. We better get it right, eh? We better get it right. It is called, oh my gosh, I did write it down, didn't I? Write it over here. It's a 4-ply it's a fingering weight, but it's actually, I don't know if that's 4-ply. That looks particular. I can't even get a little piece up. It looks like a 2-ply or a, it says it's fingering weight, but it's, I can't even get it out. It's that fine. So it is, there's 1,000 metres on there. It says to knit it with 3.5 or 4mm needles, so that's quite big. It's 60% cotton and 40% acrylic, so it'll have that nice summer cotton feel, but the acrylic will keep it in shape, which will be good, and give it a bit of structure. And I thought, I've got a pattern, I couldn't find it, just because I couldn't be bothered, a nice V-neck plain t-shirt, so I thought I might try doing a faded V-neck plain t-shirt with that. I will do a swatch first and see what the 4mm needle, because that is very, very fine for fingering. Anyway, bit of fun, so I bought that one as well at Finzah. And so the lovely lady Sasha said, oh, I have a free gift. So I took a pick and mix. She was giving little gifts away. I'm assuming it's full. I have not opened it. So I'm going to open it in front of you because I don't know what it is. So let's see what my free gift was. Oh, look at that. It is Katona. Oh, it's the same wool as this. Doesn't match it, unfortunately. It's cotton. I can't read the label, but it's called Katona, C-A-T-O-N-A, and it's a nice little, I think it's 100% cotton. I'll have to look closer later on with my, because what I do is I take a photo and then I stretch it out so that I can read on my phone actually the details, which is, sounds a bit ridiculous, but hey-ho. I'm thinking that this might be, it's definitely cotton. I think this might be dishcloths. So, which I desperately need. So thank you very much, Sasha. I love my little gift. That was very nice. I decided to wait and open it at the podcast. I also got another freebie from Sasha as well. Told you she was just a honey, and it was free pattern, and the pattern goes. It's the sheep G. I can't pronounce it. Sheep G's. It's Eastern Sunset Shawl. So it's a shawl, out of this. I'm not going to knit a shawl out of this because I really am feeling a t-shirt, a summer t-shirt. But I got this really lovely shawl pattern for this specific wool. So I might even change my mind, knowing me, because I'm good at doing that, evidently. Ask Stuart, he'll tell you. Change his mind? Never. Yes, she's always changing her mind. So that was my little booty from Kringler, when I was in Wollongong. Thanks, Sasha. I hope you're watching. You guys were lovely, and I really do appreciate the wool, and it was nice to meet you. What else have I got? I think I'm just about at the end of the other purchases. Here I go, reaching under here again. I think there's a picture of Kenzie, my guide dog. As I said, I'm legally blind. If you don't watch this, Kenzie is my guide dog, and she has her own Facebook page. You're more than welcome to visit it. Kenzie the guide dog, Kenzie. And I bought Kenzie. I promised myself I'd never be one of these people that dresses the dog up, but I just couldn't. I could not walk past it. So I've put, and it's got a hat. There's a picture of Kenzie in her Facebook page with this on. She does not look happy. She does not look happy at all. But hey ho, you know when you're on holiday and you have those brain farts, and that's one of them. I promised myself I'd never do that, but isn't that ridiculous? The other thing I brought is another gift for Kenzie over there, and it was a drinking bowl, water bowl, and a bottle. This is a really great idea. So I've got one similar, but it leaks, and it's never been quite great, but I've used it. This one has a filter in it, but it also has a valve, so it's not going to leak. And then when you hold it down, and I just hold that button, and as Kenzie drinks, it just keeps filling up until she's finished, and then I can pour the water back into it for something really handy for travelling. And look what it says. I don't know if it reads back the front or not. Thirsty bitch. So, and this says thirsty bitch. Well, she is a bitch. She's a dog, female dog, and I quite liked those. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much most of my stuff. Oh, no. Ah, but wait, there's more. I went into a bookshop, and it was so refreshing going to somewhere where it was totally different. Everything was different. It's so nice to look in a shop and see different colours, different clothes, different fabrics, different books, different people. It's really quite refreshing. Because we've had COVID and none of us have really travelled, we forget how important it is to have that just genuine whole breakaway, and it was really good for me. But I walked into this bookshop, and what it did is, oh gosh, I bought 2 lots of books. One is a crocheting book, and I haven't opened these. So a crocheting book with some, I'll open it, and a sewing book, which it's got a bit worse for wear actually by the looks of it. This has got patterns in it, so I've never seen this before. It's got 2 paper patterns. One's a wrap dress and one's a canvas handbag, which is like a craft bag. Funnily enough, that's what we want to make at our knit groups. So there's a pattern there, and it's got a lovely wrap dress, which I would definitely wear. Very size inclusive. I think it goes up to a 24 or something, or a 26. I was quite impressed. And you can do long sleeve and short sleeve. And it's got, Oh, it's got 16 projects. See, I haven't even read it. 16 projects to make. So For You, it's called. It's British. It was only $18. I mean, you wouldn't, one pattern. So, yeah, chuffed with that. I'm assuming, see, I haven't gone into it yet. Oh, there's a book in there. Right, well, this is going to be my afternoon. There's a book. So I'm going to go through the book. And the crocheting one, so you've got free something. Oh, just those plain little marker things for your knitting. And some crochet patterns. Celebrate good times. Crocheting. Oh, something's fallen out. Daisy chain, something or other. I have no idea. But, yeah. So a whole lot of crocheting projects. So that's my reading for the month. Is those. So that was nice. I also bought three, and more for work actually, 3 personal development diaries. I won't wear this again because it's actually bloody uncomfortable. Keeps rolling up. 3 personal development diaries, and I've got them at work so we can get ideas on them, off them for courses in the youth group. The main reason I went over was obviously for family and grandchildren, but my daughter-in-law is a social worker and she works for Headspace, which is a national body over in Australia for youth. It's a youth program. So it was really good for Zoe to check that out and talk about it with my daughter-in-law, Sammy, and my son works for another company that takes care of intellectually disabled young men, so she was able to suss that out as well and talk a lot about that as well and get ideas and fresh perspectives around what they do in Australia for youth that are challenged. So, that was really good for Zoe as well. I don't quite know where I was leading with that, but that's where that conversation went. It's obviously time to start winding up because I'm now talking. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Merry Christmas. Do have a lovely Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. I thought my next podcast, which I would do in the new year, is to go through all of my 2022 knits and show you my pile of knits and my thoughts on sort of my year's ideas on what I might knit for the year. So that will be what I'm hoping to do next. And the interesting thing is I have absolutely no pages left. Here's my journal for the year. That's all my knits and the oops, you can't see, all my knits and my tags, etc. on that side. And on this side is my notes for my podcast. And this is my last page of my last note for my podcast. And that is the last page. So, new book for next year. So, yeah, have a lovely Christmas. I hope to see you next year. And we will have some wonderful knitting to look forward to, especially in New Zealand, because we're heading into winter after Christmas, as the Americans and Canadians, etc. in Europe are heading out of winter. So, bye for now. Ka kite.